Is this on? I think you need to turn the volume up. I don't think they can hear me. Test, test, test. There we go. Okay, if we could take our seats, please, we'll begin shortly. Just talk right over everybody, huh? Yeah. Welcome to the January meeting. My name is Kevin Sigworth. I'm the president of the Milwaukee Area Woodturners. A couple of quick announcements before we start. If you missed my announcement from 10 minutes ago, Dina and Chris are leaving for vacation tomorrow, so the register is going to be closed. The storefront is closed, so you won't be able to make any more purchases this evening. And hopefully we get out of here at a reasonable time so they can get home and get packed. First order of business tonight is the financial report. George? I'm not sure you could hear me. Okay. While he's getting ready, there will be a wood raffle this evening. There will be show and tell. See Dave in the back for the wood raffle. I do. We're kind of missed.
All right. Last year, one of our goals was to re-register every member so we had current information. And I was looking at what I had, and 25 members have not re-registered. If you look by your name, where you initial it, there's a little, really tiny REG. And if that means that I have you re-registered and I have all your current information. And I would really appreciate those. If you don't have it, just go online, or if you're here tonight and you haven't done it, come on over by us. We've got the forms. You can fill it out, or go online and email it to me. Okay? Appreciate it. All right. Money. We're going to have a lot more in there because we're getting a lot of people paying dues today, which is really great. Then we can do some of our IRDs. We had probably about last Thursday, we had $12,762.46, of which about 10,100 is in the club, and we still have 2735 for the kids, for helping out, buying stuff for the kids. We had, prior to Thursday, we had 52 out of 127 members paid. Now we've got a whole bunch tonight that have paid, and we have new members tonight. So we're probably going to be about 130. We're going to be over 130 members, which is really, really great. So the new members that are here tonight: Dan Cleveland Kupchak. Dan, right there. Alan Laupan. Alan. Dan Pease. Dan. And Scott. Scott, I can't read. Scott, what's your last name? Okay. I'll believe you. All right. So that's what I got. So please, if you have not filled out a registration form within the last year or this year, please come and redo that. Okay. Trying to keep our records as current as possible. New members, we want to get this information in so that you can get online and see what we have to offer on our website. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George. A couple of announcements before we begin this evening's demonstration. So I'd like to announce our 2026 Milwaukee Area Woodturners Scholarship winner, Chris Kelleher. I saw Chris. Chris is in the back. So Chris will be, well, he'll be demonstrating this year, but also then as part of the accepting the scholarship for 2026, he's on the hook for doing another demo for us in 2027. For those of you that are interested in applying for the 2027 scholarship, uh, the board is now taking nominations. There's a list of criteria which I can provide you. They're pretty straightforward. You have to have been a member for a couple of years. You have to be willing to do a demo. Um, fill out, there's a questionnaire that you fill out. It's available on our website, or you can get it from Tony or myself. The scholarship is up to $900 for a professional woodworking uh, class, I guess. Yeah. So, any questions on that? You've got almost a year now. Well, actually, not. We will, this year's winner for 2027, we'll pick it in October and it'll be announced at the December meeting. Any questions on that, Simi, or anybody on the board? Uh, Daryl Coleman is working right there. Stand up, Daryl is working on the youth turning program. So we're getting close to being ready to kick off a pilot with our first group. It'll probably be a 4-H group, but we're hoping to once we get that rolling to roll that out to many more youth groups. So if you're interested in working with Daryl on that, talk to him. We're looking, of course, for mentors and anyone else that's interested in helping out with our youth turning program, which we will get online this year. Next announcement, the Washington Park Senior Center is looking for a volunteer to demonstrate wood turning at their club. They have lathes and equipment. And if you're interested in doing that, talk to Mary. Mary, would you stand up and let people see?
Some woman came up at the boat fair and she runs the club. They have all the equipment. She just wants me to demonstrate. In the time somewhere around like right there. If anybody's interested, let me know.
Thank you. Okay, our next meeting will be Dennis Model. We'll be demonstrating sanding tools and techniques and dust control. I think you're, well, equal focus on both. Is that fair, Dennis?
Yep.
More on dust control. Okay. Yeah. So that's next month's meeting. Let's do show and tell now. So ideally, let's start with whoever is up here on this edge to go first. Bring your piece up here and then speak into the microphone here. Yes.
I got 2 T-shirts that haven't been picked up yet. They're here, Phil Bueller by Mark Swinford. Okay, okay. Oh, she'll get it.
Okay, and I don't see Mark Swinford here. No, sorry, I don't think he's here. But
I'm Bill Bueller, and I'm a very novice student in turning now. I've been doing slapboarding, but getting into turning now. And I've been taking classes down at Mark Adams School of Woodworking. And I just wanted to show this was in the segmented class that we did, and I had never done any segmented stuff, and we did this in 5 days. And it really has sparked my interest in segmented turning, because you don't throw a lot of the material on the floor, but it takes a lot of patience to get things right. And then this last year, I took a bowl with John Beaver, and he taught us how to do wave bowls, to where you make the bowl and you get it into your bandsaw and you cut it twice, like in the jig that he shows us how to make. And you can make bowls that stick out like this, or you can take the ring in there and sand it down to make it go the other way. And then he also showed us how to take vases or whatever other things and cut them in half, cut them in fours, or as many as you want. And you put other things inside. And this one is not finished yet. You have to finish the outside first, cut it, and then I still gotta take this down to whatever dimension I want the inside to be. And then this here will get cut off, because this is the tendon that you have to use to glue it back together and keep it in the chuck, so. But I'm having fun returning. Yeah.
Always have some adventures. Here's a piece of cherry I had from quite a few years back that we cut down, and I decided to make a big bowl, my first big bowl attempt. And I turned the outside and I started turning the inside, and I was just about done. Had a big catch, and this took a trip around the room. Luckily, it was still thick enough that I was able to rechuck it, and I turned the outside down and got rid of all the gouges and chips and things there. So I was talking to Ron earlier, since I always seem to have a problem doing the inside and getting catches and having disasters, is maybe I'm going to start turning the inside and get it done, and then I'm going to finish the outside to the thickness I want. So maybe I can save some trips around the room. And then this is just a little bowl I made with a little foot on the bottom. I had some ash and some cherry left over, and so I just made a little lidded bowl, kind of like she showed us, when she was up here, Sally Alt. And then I did turn a bunch of Christmas hanging ornaments and put a little tea light inside. Some were most of the ones had finials in it, and I give those all away. This one took a venture also and lost its finial, so that's why it's kind of truncated. But you can fit them, so you can put either little tea light inside of them. So that was some things that I did there. So that was things I did before Christmas.
There we go. Here's a few small little bowls that I turned. Just one of the things that I won in the wood auction we had a couple of months back was just a bundle of wood blanks that were about 2 inches thick and maybe about 4 inches diameter. So I'm making these little bowls like this. I'm not sure what this stuff is. It looks like it's ash. And this is a piece. Actually, this is a different piece of wood. This is a piece of box elder that I had, and I did a little bit of patina work on the inside. This is a fun flame box elder bowl that I did. This was a chunk of wood that one of the demos we did during the holiday folk fair, Mary was working on this particular piece. Fred lent us a whole bunch of wood that he had. And while she was turning it, we realized it was severely cracked and it was dangerous to turn. So it just got chucked into a pile and we never did turn it. But at the end of the event, I decided to grab this and Fred to take it. So I was able to turn it, and it did not blow apart. And but it was getting a little iffy. So I decided I was going to fill it with some more resin. And it was sitting on the bench, and I did this to it, and it broke in half. So better on the bench, I guess, and then flinging off the lathe. I also cut 2 little splines in here, and I added some pieces of walnut, so it completed this. I don't know. I wouldn't call that an inclusion. That's actually, I guess, where there was a defect in the bark or something. And anyway, it turned out really nice. A little cherry top. Oh, And then finally, some fun little Christmas ornaments that were marbled. There was a woman who was sort of across the aisle from us who was doing marbling, Turkish marbling, called Ubra. I think that's how it's pronounced. And so I decided to turn these little things and marble them. They turned out rather nice. Also, I decided to turn a light bulb, which was kind of fun actually. Uh, and turned as one piece, and then this is dyed. This area is dyed, and this is just used as the Gilder's paste wax that I have to give it sort of the idea of a thread ferrule, whatever you wish to call it, on the bottom of a light bulb. But I made about half a dozen of these, all different colors. It was fun. So anyway, my little project. And that's it.
Did another square bowl. Yeah. An ornament. Been doing a bunch of those. Another maple bowl. Like my grandma gets a bunch of these from this one shop, and they just chuck them in their pile of trash. And she goes and gets them for burning, and these were too big. They're like 6 inches wide. So I took them, made a bunch of them. This was something from the wood raffle 2 months ago that I made. And I've been rough turning a bunch of black walnut bowls. So that's what I want.
This is a preview of what you're going to see later tonight. Another piece of wood from the same log. So that piece of wood will have all the problems that this piece of wood had, which is namely lots of cracks. But yeah, it's just another example of a end grain live edge turning. And I filled the crack with resin and dowels and these little colored plastic beads that I had a whole bag of, which I will never do that again because they're really hard to turn and work with and sand and get even and everything. But it's kind of a neat effect. You know, if you don't try, you don't know. So anyway, yeah, we're going to do something kind of similar to this tonight.
Hi. Since we're talking about end grain stuff tonight, I brought in 3 end grain pieces. This is a piece of maple that was turned and then carved. This is all done with a rotary carver.
Question, did you carve it first and then turn, because the leaves are on, so you left that diameter sticker with a leaf?
It was turned from here down. These two were turned, and this was left proud, and then went in with the rotary burrs and carved that down. And of course, this is the way, you know, everybody talks about hating sanding. You know, sanding. Here is a piece of spalted birch, and it's end grain again. You just have to be careful when the end grain gets thin like this, it tends to break. And end grain is also nice for carving and piercing. And this is another piece of spalted birch. So.
This was a bowl that came from the wood auction. Debbie, I don't know if she's here tonight or not. She'd given it to me up at the folk fair. It was too big for her lathe. And this is about the only turning I've done since the folk fair and tonight. But it just was maple. It was severely out of round. It had a date on it of 1994. And so I even with the stronghold chuck, I couldn't get it to chuck in right. So I had to take a 3-inch hole saw and back the center off a little bit and very carefully use the hole saw to get the tenon squared up. And once I did that, it chucked up nice and it was hard as a rock, but it turned out nice. So
I'll try to keep this short, but I think you'll like my story. Uh, this was just a thump slash root ball that was sitting on a shelf, and I figured time to do something. So I fit it in a 5-gallon pail, poured the resin in, and then I also added black resin on top after that. And originally it was just going to be a bowl without the pedestal or without the lid, but I liked the way it was turning out. So I had a blank on here and a face plate, turn the inside and most of the outside. And that's when I decided I was going to make a lid. So I set it aside for a week because I had to get some more resin, get this piece ready for the resin. A week later, when I decided to chuck this up to cut off that and finish off the end, it warped a little bit, which I chucked it up and was wobbling like mad. Like it was round when I took it off, but luckily it was still flat here. So I just sanded it off and fit it in my coal jaws so I could finish off the end. And that's when I decided to make the pedestal. So I chucked it up in the coal jaws, had the tailpiece on it, and was finishing the end, made a little groove for the future pedestal. That's the last thing I remember because it was spinning. I'm working at the end, spinning towards me, and it fell off out of the coal jaws. There was a groove down here. It must have fallen off. I had the power matic lathe and caught the sharp edge here, caught that, hit me right in the head, knocked me unconscious. I had whiplash and I fell on my tailbone, and there was a lot of blood on the floor when I woke up. My wife found me. I don't think I was unconscious real long, but there was a big bloody towel next to me when she found me, and she took me to the ER. Had a bunch of so I had a bunch of stitches, and 3 days later it was time to go back in the shop, and yeah, and surprisingly it only had nicks in the black part here and some chips because it used to be thicker. So I made a jig and cut half of it off on the bandsaw and was able to save it. Then I made the lid, made it fit, and made the pedestal, and it turned out, but it was kind of a costly adventure. That's it. Well, when I was turning it, the body of it, I wear a face shield because it flies right at you, especially with resin. It comes off in ribbons and it just kind of covers you. But I was working on the end. I wasn't even cutting in the rotation of it. I wasn't in front of it, so I wasn't too concerned. But it just happened to take a perfect geometry and smack me in the head. So.
How much, you said before the resin, 5-gallon, how many dollars,
Oh, I buy it in the 1.5 gallon kit. It's usually like $70 for that. And I mean, it was mostly, this isn't 100% resin, so it's not, you kind of do the math and try to figure out close how much you got to mix, just because it is expensive, obviously. But yeah, resin is not cheap. So thank you. What's that?
guessing you're not going to go into mass production, but
No. And it's really nice showing the other guys, it kind of glows with the light through it. So my wife likes to store it with a light inside of it, and kind of glows.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
while we're talking about emergency room visits, I had what I call the great bandsaw incident of August 17th, where I cut around the knuckle, but not the knuckle. And I had to go in on November 5th. Oh, I had to go in on November 5th and have some infected bone and whatever taken out. So I've been banned from the shop for 2 months. I got the doctor's clearance today at 1 o'clock. And at 1:45 or so, I finished this. It's a one piece of 4 pieces of cedar I got from the wood auction. The first 2 completely exploded on November 4th before the surgery. And the third one came apart, but it's about 3/4 intact. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I hate to throw it away. This one got finished on November 4th with zip ties around it, so it wouldn't come apart. But it came out really nice. I've been struggling with finishes. Kevin's been helping me for about a year now. And this ended up with 2 coats of brush on shellac, sanded to 400, and then Yorkshire grit over the top. And it's just the way I like it. Not too much gloss and plastic and stuff on it. This little guy here is the piece of wood that caused the great bandsaw incident of August 17th. And then this, yes, it's plywood. Please don't throw me out. It got the shellac today. It hasn't been finished yet, but it needs a little more sanding, and I'm kind of happy with it. The plywood is kind of a hit and miss thing. I've got 3 or 4 others that didn't come out this pretty. These, if you see them floating around, this is the last one for tonight. I make them at home. Well, 2 months out of the shop, you can guess what I was doing up in the office. I bring 15 or 20 with me every meeting. If I should bring more next time, I'll bring more. But you're welcome to them. They're free. Also, finishing posts. If you want to grab a half a dozen of them before you go, while they're still here, I'm going to leave them on the table. And you're welcome to them. The last of these guys is here as well.
Jay, tell them where that is.
Yeah.
What, the finishing? Oh, that. This is for when you sharpen your traditional tools. This is all the angles you could possibly want to check the trueness. And I didn't just guesstimate this. The computer did it for me. So what could go wrong? It's like the internet. It's always true.
I just have 3 things here. Little piece of bird's eye that I got from the auction. It just turned out really nice. I'm real happy with it. Only about a 4-inch bowl. This is some of the red bud from Mike. When I was turning the outside here, started cracking. So I just filled it with some, I don't remember, epoxy or CA, I'm not sure. And thought, well, I'll turn it around and see what happens. The inside's perfect. It's red bud, my mother's favorite tree. She's 95. She's turned me down on everything I've offered her, but this she's taking. This, I think, is black ash, but I'm not sure. And when I was trying to face it originally, I was getting chips along the edge here. So I thought, well, I'll just turn the outside, which went well. And then I did the inside, and I kept this bowl was probably about that deep when I started. It just keeps chipping and chipping and chipping. I first tried to use a scraper on the front edge, on the top edge when it was all together, and chip, chip, chip. So then I thought, well, just dish it out and see what happens, thinking I could come in from the edge with a bowl gouge, spindle gouge, whatever gouge. Yeah, never worked. Firewood.
My buddy was at the dump. You know, it took me hours to turn it to look just like this. So buddy of mine was at a dump and he found this chunk of honeysuckle. He thought originally it was cornelian cherry dogwood, but it has these galls on the side. And so I took the piece that was on the bottom of this and did an end grain turn on it. All right. So the stump came out down this way, and these were the galls that were kind of circling on the top. And it turned out way more spectacular than I ever thought. But the cracking on honeysuckle is really a pain. I mean, I had to glue this about 5 or 6 times to keep the bottom together. In fact, it actually came apart. But I think for a live edge burl and grain bowl, I thought that turned out pretty cool. So, all right. Thank you.
Okay, Ken has a question, and then Leigh will move into your demo. So if you want to get ready.
A friend of mine gave this to me. He no longer does wood turning, and he just does regular woodworking. He goes to Mexico every winter, and he picked this up probably 20, 25 years ago. And he says it's a piece of coco bolo. Somebody else said it might be ironwood. But my question is, I want some advice as to what's the best way to make one bowl or 2 bowls out of this. If you guys can come over during break time and give me a little advice and ideas, I'd appreciate it. Because I really don't want to, spoil it and turn it into firewood. So okay, thank you. Really heavy. Yeah, very heavy. Here, cat.
All right, thanks. Okay, so Leigh is going to demonstrate a natural edge end grain bowl for us tonight. So thank you, Leigh. Get this out of the way.
There we go. Okay. Is it picking me up? Okay. Excellent. All right. So, that last show and tell item, not the question, but the last item, the honeysuckle thing was super appropriate because we're going to do something kind of like that tonight. All right. So, this is going to be a natural edge in grain turning. So what do I mean by that? And a lot of you are probably going to know everything I'm about to say, but we have a lot of, different levels here. So maybe it will be informative to some people. All right. So normally when we turn a piece of wood, we take our log, we cut it in half, and we turn it like this if we want just a traditional bowl with a rounded bottom and a flat top, right? Or we can turn it like this if we want something that ends up more like this, which is, kind of more of a banana shaped thing. If the bark is on, it's live edge. If the bark's off, it's natural edge. So normally we turn like this. And so on the inside and the outside of the bowl, we have end grain and side grain. The inside of the bowl is also end grain and side grain, right? But now when you turn an end grain piece, which is going to be, this will be our victim tonight. You turn it in this orientation where this is the top or the bottom, and this is the top or the bottom. And so your exterior is all side grain, which is really nice. It cuts really easy. You don't get a lot of tear out. It's just zippy quick. But you make for it when you go to hollow because now it's all end grain on the inside. And that can be a pain to hollow. It takes longer. You don't get any nice shavings. It's all just dust and powder and mess. But we're going to give this a try tonight. As I mentioned, this is the same log as that over there. I went ahead and took the bark off of this one just to kind of cut down on the mess that we're going to have tonight. So the first question, or one reason to do it this way, one reason to do an end grain is because you really like this circumference. It's very interesting. It's a neat shape. And I'm always on the lookout for logs that kind of have an interesting non-round circumference. So you get your piece of wood, and so your first decision is what's the top and what's the bottom. So in my case, it's usually an aesthetic decision. I think this is more interesting than this. So that's my bottom, and this is my top. Second consideration is, in what orientation is this piece of wood less likely to kill me? Cause, well, we heard some testimony tonight. The wood is out to get us. It doesn't want to be cut. It doesn't want to be attacked like that. But as you can see, this is a piece of cherry, and it has the problems that cherry always has, and all of the fruit woods have, which is it's got cracks. These are not too bad, but it's got one here, which I don't know if you can see. It goes all the way down the side of the wood, just like that one does that I filled with the beads. There's another one here that goes about this far, but I'm going to bet that it kind of wants to hook up with this sort of void in here, right? It's not much better from the other direction. Now, I'm willing to take a chance on wood like this. But all I can say is if you don't feel comfortable, safe turning a piece of wood, don't. Just put it on the fire or give it to somebody else who's willing to give it a try. But I think this is going to be okay. This is really solid wood. So it's got a lot of weight and strength behind it. So it's probably going to be all right. But I'm going to do something to help sort of hedge my bets when I get done. So this is going to be our top. That's going to be our bottom. And so I always start between centers. You could do a faceplate if you wanted to. I'm lazy and that takes time. So I just put it on there between centers and go. So let me do that now. Let me get my spur center back in here. Don't use a metal hammer, but that's all we have. So all right, that should work. I'm also, I don't know if this is lazy or clever to just leave the chuck on there, but it works pretty well for me. Yeah. Oh. All right. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Okay, I think that's gonna probably work. All right. What's that?
Did you kind of where the drive is, that center? Did you kind of predetermine where that center was?
Yeah, on the
It's the same diameter or radius.
yeah, on the front here, yeah, I took a little paper template and kind of positioned it and got it, so it wasn't going to be too off center. Now this is going to be, yeah, that's probably not quite, just off. Yeah, just off the pith. Now obviously these two sides are not parallel. I am opting to keep this side more or less perpendicular to the lathe because I want to try, if I can, to preserve this sort of slant on the top. It may not work out, but I'm going to give it a whirl. All right, so let me get some manner of protective equipment on here. And a nice big chunky gouge. And let's see. Yeah. I will once I. So that So I'm turning it up till it starts to shimmy, and then I'm going to turn it down. So that's about 525. I have a smaller lathe at home. I wouldn't be able to start it that speed, but this is pretty nice. And of course, I gave it a spin to make sure I wasn't going to hit my tool rest. And actually, let me. Everything on here's that's okay. Yeah. All right. All righty. So I'm going to just start by, I'm going to start by doing this first. So I always do. I'm going to try my brand new Bedan that I got for Christmas. So on end grain, on side grain turnings, I use a mix of tenons and mortises. It really just depends on what I feel like doing, what I think is going to look best, and how much of a hurry I'm in. If I'm turning a whole bunch of bowls, I'm going to use a mortise because they're quicker. You don't have to turn them off when you're done. It's just done, throw it on the pile, done, throw it on the pile, done, throw it on the pile. For end grain, I just have this belief that a tenon is just safer. Because if you think of this like a bundle of straws, right? If you were to put your fingers down into the top of a bundle of straws and spread your fingers apart, you're going to spread the straws apart. And as far as you keep spreading your fingers, you're going to keep spreading those straws. And that's what's going to happen if you put a mortise in grain. That mortise will kind of continue to spread out. You're going to have to keep tightening it. You could run into problems. With a tenon, it's the opposite. You're compressing that bundle, and eventually you'll get it compressed to a point where it won't really compress anymore. I mean, in theory, as the wood dries and everything, it can continue to compress. But I just feel like the compression is safer than the expansion in that case. So for this, I always do a tenon. My opinion. So let's see if I can get this. Oh, I got this knot right there. I'm trying to work around. I guess I could cut that off, but all right. So let's try this out. I brought a backup tool in case I'm not good at it. Got greedy. Okay, I want to do something. I want to get this knot off of here and get this a little lighter. So I can get this where is it? Hard wood. If you didn't hear, there's a knot here that I'm just trying to turn off so I can get the tool rest a little bit closer. I also always have a face shield when I turn, so I do not like sawdust in my mouth. No, I think it'll muffle me too much. I think it'll interfere with the sound. It's okay. She said, famous last words. Is that better? That got most of it. Okay. A little closer now. A little closer. Okay. All right. Back to trying to get this tenant here. This is really the worst part of the whole thing, I think. I've got a lot of overhang there, but I can't really get the tool rest in much closer. So we're almost there though, I think. It's a Badan. It's got it's it's like I don't know what you would, it's like a parting tool, but it's thicker, it's more robust, uh it's got a wider shaft, it's kinda, yeah. I don't know exactly how else to describe it. All right. A lot of overhang, but I think I don't really know this chuck, so I'm gonna guess that'll probably do. All right. Now, of course, I want a little bit bigger of a little bit bigger than that. That's a fight. That's a fight. Okay. Let's see. All right. I need a profile of some kind on that there. What I need. Here's what I need to do. It's really stuck in there. Come on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Trouble in River City. All right. Well, can I get another live center, please? It did. Well, that's not going to work, obviously. Let's see. Hopefully we can back this. Will it back out? Will it? Vice grips? Anybody? It's there's a hole in it. It's not, there's nothing to. Oh, okay. Hmm. No, it's just just gave up the ghost. I've had one do that before. I mean, I may be able to use it.
It's,
I mean, I think
It's-
I can,
it's in there.
yeah, I think I can use it. Yeah. 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 Yeah, okay. I think I'll make it, it'll work, I think, but I need a lot more, need more space under here. Okay, let's see, how about that now? There we go. More than that. All right. How about that? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Now that I have what I is a tenon size that's going to work. Like I said, I don't really know those jaws. So now I can start just shaping the bottom. Now, as you can see from these examples here, which you've seen before, without really trying to, I seem to always end up with sort of a trumpet shape or a tulip shape. And I'm really going to try to end up with a bowl tonight. We'll see how it goes. It may just be a force of habit I can't break, but we're going to try to end up with a bowl. So we're just going to try to have more of a gently, you know, sloping side. So let's see how that goes. Try to turn my speed up a little bit here. Whoop, not much. No, 658. And the thing about this is you never really get it round, right? So it's always a little out of balance. So you may never get up to the turning speed that you're used to. Just kind of the way it is. It's, this is already dull. Powder and very hot. There's a glove, no glove debate. I'm telling you, I'm not going to burn my skin off, just to, it's a tight fitting glove. So get around that. All right, slow going. We'll get there. Well, that's exactly the opposite from my lathe. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I am. I couldn't, I mean, if I tried carbides, it'd beat me to death. And I don't know what else you'd use. I mean, technically you could use spindle tools. It's technically a spindle turning, but it's it's pretty violent. So most of those spindle tools have thinner shafts, so you probably wouldn't want to. You mean on from the top down, basically? Yeah, I do both. I do a combination of both. I always do my finishing cuts, you know, as a supported cut. But this way, I just whatever way seems to be giving me the most headway while I'm just doing this roughing out. That's how I just hack away at it like that. But I'll move over here. You glad I took most of the bark off? It'd be like a shooting gallery out there. Okay, we're kind of getting there. Starting to calm down a little bit. Can probably move my tool rest in some. Now, so before I forget to talk about this, so obviously you want to stop before you get to the top, or then you'll be defeating the whole purpose of what you're trying to do. So kind of eyeball, where you think you probably want to stop. If I look over here, I probably want to stop about there. I probably don't want to come up much higher than that. But of course, that's going to leave me with, an uneven amount of, um, what would you call this? It's not bark. It's what is that? The what the cambium, right? So I'm going to be left with, some cambium, which, it's kind of interesting looking. I could leave it on here. I could sand it off later, whatever, but, I'm going to just kind of make a mental mark on my tool rest here, or you can put a piece of tape or something and just not come up any farther than that um, as I'm shaping the outside here. So that I think I will put a little piece of tape since I have tape. This is foreshadowing the fact that I have tape. So about right there is where I want to stop. Okay. All right. On we go. Now, as you can see, I am kind of headed toward that tulipy shape again. Maybe it's just who I am. I don't know. When I'm cutting down here, can you smell the cherry? I do. It's nice. This was a piece of wood harvested from when the city came through and cut down a bunch of black cherry trees beside the Hank Aaron Trail in West Dallas. This is, I got a whole bunch of wood from that. It's, the city really just considers them a weed, really, but it's pretty wood. So there you go. Now, if I really want to try to turn this into a bowl, I need to commit. I'm going to have to lose some, some height on it. And just kind of start bringing this in more to a bowl shape. But I mean, you can see the issue here is, when I have just a little bit left up here, I've got a whole lot over here. And I think that's kind of cool. I mean, that's just the way the tree is. That's the way the tree was made. And that's a feature that I like to highlight. But, it does play into your design decisions, I guess. Um, Yeah, sure, if you want to. I mean, I'm probably, given the time we have, I'm probably just going to finish the outside, flip it around, just start hollowing the inside and say a few things about that. I won't get finished hollowing because the hollowing is a pretty long process. But I mean, we all know how to hollow the inside of a bowl. There's not really any surprises there. So yeah, we can take a break now and
33, let's take a 10-minute break. Let's try to, if we can't get out early tonight, so 7:44, start up again, Nate.
Okay, if we could take our seats, we'll resume the meeting right now.
That's our light.
I know. Yeah.
Actually, put that up.
It's not epoxy, it's actually super glue and coffee grounds.
That's cool.
Yeah, it turned out pretty nice. Yeah, it was were you the field trip last year to get taken down the black walnut tree? This is part of that tree. Thank you. Oh, okay. Um Oh, no, I was just waiting for everybody to get settled down a little bit. So in the interest of time, I just kept turning through the break. I was determined to get a bowl shape. I have a bowl shape, which necessitated turning away a fair bit at the bottom. So now I'm just going to reduce this. This is my new tenon here. I'm just going to reduce this and try to get it small enough to break off or something. So I can get this reversed and get it in the chuck. So, and I was able to turn the speed up a little bit to 891. Normally at this point, I would just saw it off. I don't have a saw. So do we have a saw, parting tool, anything? This could take a while. That's a little too wide. Oh, wait, you know what? Did I bring up? I did not, because I did not think that I would need one. I have a skew. That might work. That might work. I've got pieces kind of shearing off here, so I think we're probably where we need to be with that. All right, so true to form, we do have big crack here, smaller crack here, probably not that much of an issue for integrity. This did not really connect up, so we're probably okay here for a while. Now, somebody suggested super glue, which I do use. That is a pretty big honking crack to try to fill with super glue. Probably wouldn't work. So what I do, just to give myself some insurance, is after I finish the outside, and at this point I would, probably wouldn't sand it. I'm one of those weird people that just does the inside and then sands the inside and the outside at the same time, just in case I totally screw up the inside. I haven't wasted a ton of time sanding and finishing the outside. So what I do at this point is I wrap this up with several lengths of tape. That does two things. Number one, as I start hollowing, there's going to be a lot of chatter, a lot of flex up here because of the cracks, and it helps with that a little bit. But mainly, if it does blow apart, it doesn't go everywhere. The tape at least holds it kind of, semi together. So it's not as much of a hazard. So, and I also would probably use duct tape or something for this, but I couldn't find my duct tape as I was running out of the house. So this is, what's that? That too, but I don't have any of that, but that would also work. But for something like this tape, which isn't particularly strong, just slap a bunch of layers on it. More is better. There we go. So that's probably not gonna be a health hazard. Right. So now they're janky little. Well, it's not fixed. It still comes off, but it's usable. It'll do for now. All right. So let's see here. We can get this off. Jeez. Wow. Okay. It'll fit. It'll fit. That'll fit down into Chuck. You're absolutely right. It will. Probably. That's how I live my life. Probably. That'll probably work. And usually it does. Ta-da! All right. Just make sure we're lined up. We are. Get that seated in there. How did I do on my angle? Not bad. All right. Now, probably, if I were working on this for a length of time, I'd want to keep tightening that because number one, the wood's losing moisture even as I go. And number two, just those fibers are getting compressed ever more. So just keep eye on that, keep tightening it. All right. So let's see what we can do here. Actually need more. I'm going to keep the tailstock up for a while just because I can, but I'm going to give myself as much wiggle room as I can. There we go. I think that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
What's your guide for your?
Hope and prayer. I honestly, I really haven't had any trouble with bowls cracking at the pith. If the pith is already kind of rotten or punky, I'll just reinforce it with super glue or something. But yeah, I've had pretty good luck with that. So maybe hope and prayer is working. I don't know. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a rocky ride as well because it's a very uneven surface. I'm a little low. Okay, now I could attack this in a couple of ways. If I was okay with having the top level, right? I would just come in from the side like this. Get that level, come in a little bit, go down a little bit, come in, go down, come in, go down, come in, go down. Really focus on getting kind of like when you're turning a winged bowl or something like this. You want to get finished up here before you start moving down. You want to leave wood in the middle because that stabilizes the whole chunk. If you just start turning away and then you get down here and you realize, oh, I'm a lot thinner here than I am up here. I need to come back to these wings and thin them out. They're going to be vibrating like this, and you just won't get a good clean cut. So get this established first and then move on to the center. So this isn't quite winged, but it's kind of the same idea. You've got these pieces of wood kind of hanging out here that aren't really part of the central mass of the bowl, if that makes sense. So you want to deal with those, get those where you want them, and move on. which means I won't be able to keep this tailstock up here for very long, but at least we'll start and see if the thing acts like it wants to hop out at least or not. But so I said I want to try to keep the unevenness. Can you guys see how it has this slant? I want to keep that because I think that's just kind of neat. I may not succeed, but you know, let's try. Let's see what happens here. Woo! This is 892 and it's a little frisky. That's seven 791. All right. All right. So so you can already, I think I'm probably going to lose my tilt a little bit because I just can't keep that. I am, because you can sort of see how, you know, I'm going to lose that. It's going to be a level top mostly, but that's okay. But see how I've cut in probably a good, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch, almost half an inch over here, but I haven't even touched this over here yet. And that's why it's so bumpy and rocky right now as I'm cutting wood, air, wood, air, wood, air, wood, air. So I'm not going to get an even smooth cut to myself until I'm cutting all wood, which is going to be a little while. I'm in a little, and I'm wasn't down all the way. So I am coming in a little bit. I'm going to leave this center mass, but I'm coming in a little bit just to give myself some room to work out here. But I am going to leave that center until I get a little farther down, you know. And honestly, even a bowl that's shallow like this, I'm probably not going to get to it tonight because of time, but I could only get so far with a gouge. And then I'm using a hollowing tool just because the angle that you need is just almost impossible to get with a gouge unless you want to sit on your lathe, which I don't. So I have seen a guy do that though. Um, it worked. It was a beautiful piece, but we'll pass. All right. It's number 3. Yeah, so I haven't even, you can see I'm cutting over here. I still haven't even cut over here. And that's actually more or less the way I lined up my template, just an aesthetic choice. If I came out farther, I would be losing some of this edge over here, which I don't want to do. So this is just going to be,
What do you mean if it came out far?
if I came out farther and started cutting in sooner, I'm afraid I would start losing some of the natural contour on this side, which I don't want to do. But again, aesthetically, and this is, your choice. You do these the way you want to, but aesthetically, I'm fine with leaving a lot of the natural features and shape of this wood because that's why I'm turning the wood this way. It's because I like its shape and I want to preserve it. If I didn't like it and I wanted to, have my way with it, I would turn it in a different orientation or do something totally different. So anyway, but of course I would, I'd sand this and it'll be just kind of a nice a nice finish. But anyway, I'm going to keep going a little bit and I may get the hollower out just for grins. I don't know, just to show you what that looks like. I'm going to come out here just a little. Just a little. Now, I should mention that traditional wisdom is that you hollow in grain with pull cuts from the inside out. And in many cases, that does work better. In this case, it's not really going to work for what I'm trying to accomplish. So that's why I'm doing this with push cuts, which is harder. So, if you can figure out how to do this with pull cuts and not kind of go like too far and kind of lose your orientation, then, more power to you. I've tried it. I haven't been happy with the results. So I'm doing it the hard way, I guess, with these push cuts. All right. So this doesn't act like it wants to go anywhere. Well, maybe, but
The cracks twice as large as they are. Better off build those temporarily. Now you're gonna remove them with that.
well, you could, but the thing is, I mean, you're gonna have to dump like a bottle of super glue in there to fill that crack. It's a huge crack. So you'd have to do that, or you'd have to dump some resin in there, wait a few days. And the thing is, you're not going to turn all of it away. You're still going to have some of it left. And the way this is right now, if you can see how ragged that crack is, I'd have to spend a lot of time cleaning it out. And because it's narrow and deep, that would be hard to do. So I'm going to end up with a raggedy crack with raggedy resin in it. But I mean, try it, I mean, wood grows on trees. It's everywhere. So just grab a piece of wood and try that and see if you like the effect. And it could be different for different pieces of wood. I mean, I may find another piece of wood that has a crack and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fill that. But I often fill them when I'm done. Like over there, once I'd finished turning, I was able to open that crack up enough, get it nice and clean, and then, do an inlay in there. So it's just, whatever you think is gonna work for that piece. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's a little bit tight over there. Okay, so let's keep going a little bit. I will try a pull cut here just for. And it is easier. You can see it. It is physically easier to do. No question there. It's just given what I'm trying to accomplish here and the fact that I want it to come smoothly in. That's just a little harder. Ah! Woo! But we're intact. Nothing broke. Nothing broke. It just popped out of the chuck. No extra charge for that. That was fun. It did not take a trip around the shop.
Why you get too tight on that smaller piece and not
I don't think it is. It's not, it doesn't look like it's making contact with it anywhere. Maybe a little bit. You got a saw? You found one? Oh, sweet. Perfect. Perfect.
Taking it home to sharpen it for witchcraft.
It may not be very sharp.
It's not much wood. Thank you. Yeah, I think that will help. The the good thing is, if it's a little out of balance, it doesn't really matter. Because you never get it. You never get it back quite the way. I see my problem. My angle's not great there on that, but yeah. Yep. All right. Mm, will do. All right. But I can see I've got a little, the angle of my tenon and the angle of the jaws is not exact. So I've got a little bit of a, well, I'm gonna bring the tool, I'm gonna bring the headstock, the tailstock back up, and I'm gonna get out my hollower and just work that way for a little while. And I think y'all get the idea though. All right, so this is a number, I forget, is this the number 2 hollower? 3? It's my Easy Wood Tools. There's this one, there's one that it's a curved to get up underneath the rims of bowls and stuff. It has a tiny little head. It's a little bit more aggressive than the ones with the larger carbide head, but I really like this. I use it more than I use the larger one. I just really like it. All right, and you want to use it on center, which I pretty much am here. Maybe a little bit below. So just a skosh. And basically, use it, kind of tilt it. Don't come in like this. Kind of tilt it a little bit on edge so you make it more of a negative rake. You're much less likely to get a catch that way. And just slow, small, easy, even putts. Don't try to take a big chunk out at one time. And very importantly, because you can get a spectacular catch, these are both cutting edges. They can't both touch the wood at the same time because the wood's going in opposite directions on the two sides of the cutting edges, and you will get a massive catch. So be careful if you're cutting down. See, I'm getting a little bit of a groove here, a little bit of a valley. I don't want to go real deep into that and take the chance that I'm going to have this side touching and that side touching at the same time, because very bad. So, just kind of make sure you're leaving yourself enough room in your cut that you don't, run into that situation. Yeah. I better look. Yeah, it does. These are not negative rake cutters. You can get negative rake cutters for these, and if you had one, you could use it flat. But since this isn't a negative rake cutter, I feel like I get better results with it just slightly angled. Would also have a dust extractor here too. This is like the first time you ever ride a motorcycle without a full face helmet, and you're like, oh my God. So anyway, that's so I would just stop it a lot, make sure where I am, make sure where I'm coming up to on my edge, make sure I'm not going farther than I want to, and just slowly but surely. Now, what I might also do, this kind of contradicts what I said earlier, but if I were at home, I might take a Forstner bit and hollow down a little bit, not all the way through, but just a little bit, maybe inch, inch and a half, work my way down to that. Hollow another inch, inch and a half, work my way down to that. That's a good compromise between getting rid of material quickly and not making yourself have to sit there and, hog it away, and keeping that center mass intact to keep your edges stable. But I didn't bring the Forstner bit. I just I'm not going to pack up the whole shop, and those are so messy anyway. Oh my God. But anyway, so what time is it? How much time do I have? 8:15. Okay. What time you wanted to get out of here by like 8:30? Right. I mean, I think everybody kind of gets the idea. I mean, do you? Because I mean, we so yeah. Any questions? Autumn? Well, so in this case, I would have like a jam chuck or something, just another piece of wood in the chuck, and I would just flip it around. I've actually don't have a center hole there for reference, but I can get one by coming in with my knockout bar. But just turn it around on the jam chuck, line this up with that center hole for reference so it runs true, and just cut it away. Or this is not, I could actually, if I wanted to, just incorporate this and make it the foot of the bowl if I wanted to. It's kind of got that shape and proportion. That could also work if I wanted to do that. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Thanks.
We'll have to switch your range shut down once. Gift card, right?
Uh-oh.
We'll get you on that.
It's fine. I'd forgotten about it anyway.
Let's do the wood route. Dang it. Want to do it up? You start back there. Here, come up here, bud.
This lathe bed does need a little bit of wax.